Today's episode is brought to you by Mana Traders. Use the link in the description, help to support the show, and use discount code ORACLE to get 20% off the first 3 months of your subscription. Hello Internet, my name is Blue, and today we are back for another episode of Brews. And today I have an exciting deck for you guys. This is a deck that I enjoy playing. I've been playing this deck all the way back to Modern, and I love playing this deck. And this is Izzet Prowess. Recently, with the addition of Amonkhet Remastered, this deck got a huge boost in power thanks to one card in particular that I'll talk about in a moment when we start to go over the deck. But before we do, one quick reminder that if you enjoy the channel and enjoy the series and everything else we do here, go ahead and subscribe so that way you can help support us and you get notified whenever a new video goes up on the channel. So, what makes Izzet Prowess so special? And to start off, we've got to talk about our Prowess creatures. For Soulscar Mage, this is the card that was introduced with Amonkhet Remastered that makes this deck what it is. This deck probably wouldn't exist, at least not as well as it is, without Soulscar Mage. This is the glue that holds the deck together. Well, not necessarily, probably not, but Soulscar Mage is definitely one of the best cards in the deck, being a 1-drop Prowess creature that the deck just didn't have before. Next, for our Prowess creatures, we have 4 Sprite Dragons as a 2-mana 1/1 with flying and haste, and whenever we cast a non-creature spell, we put a +1/+1 counter on it. This can grow into a massive threat really quickly, and Sprite Dragon is just such a powerful card that not playing it in these builds is just straight up incorrect at this point. Next, we have Stormwing Entity, a 5-mana 3/3 with flying and prowess. When it enters the battlefield, we get to scry 2, but the kicker on this card is that whenever it costs 2 and a blue less to cast if you've cast an instant or sorcery spell this turn. So, we can imagine this scenario where we turn 1 Soulscar Mage, turn 2 Sprite Dragon, turn 3 we can play any card in one of the next 2 columns we're going to talk about, slam a Stormwing Entity, and then turn 4 just go on to win the game. That's how powerful multiple of these cards can be, and yeah, like, these Prowess creatures are really powerful, especially Stormwing Entity when we can play it for only 2 mana, because then it's a 2-mana 3/3 with flying and prowess that scries when it enters the battlefield. Like, that's a really strong card, and this is a really solid card. I love this card. This is the entire reason that Modern Prowess has started splashing blue. Like, if it was not for Stormwing Entity, Modern Prowess would still be mono red at this point. But Stormwing Entity is just such a powerful card that they've started to splash for it. The last card that we have here in our little threats pile here is Dreadhorde Arcanist. I didn't really know what to play here. There are several options we could play in this spot. There is Spellweaver Volute, I think. It's a 2-mana 2/1 with Afflict 2, and it has Prowess. That's an option to play as another Prowess creature. You could also play like Young Pyromancer to go wide. But I went with Dreadhorde Arcanist because this allows us to flash back our spells to get additional Prowess creatures and just keep going off with all of our stuff. That's our threats pile. The next most important pile of this deck is our card draw. So we have 4 Ops, 4 Crash Through, 3 Warlords, 4 Fury. These 3 cards for a total of 11 copies all have the text draw a card on them. They all do other things too. Opt scries, Crash Through gives trample, Warlord's Fury gives first strike. So they all have some utility, but they all draw a card, and that's what's important about all of these. The fact that they draw a card is what we care about. So, this way we can play our Prowess creatures, start casting spells, drawing cards, drawing through our deck, keep casting spells, keep going off. Next, we have 2 See the Truth, and this is almost entirely for Dreadhorde Arcanist. This isn't that great of a card, just being a sorcery speed Anticipate, but whenever we can flash it back off of Dreadhorde Arcanist, thanks to some cards I'll talk about here in just a moment, this is just draw 3 cards for free, because Dreadhorde Arcanist cast it for free. So, I really like this card just because of Dreadhorde Arcanist. We can also flash it back with Finale of Promise, or other card. So if we do X equals 2, we can cast Finale of Promise and then any instant in our deck that we have. Finale of Promise is also a really solid card because we cast the cards from our graveyard. So we get 3 Prowess triggers off of this if it resolves. And that is huge. Like 3 mana, 3 Prowess triggers, almost always going to like draw 3 cards, or we're dealing 4 damage thanks to shocks and other stuff that we'll talk about in a minute. Finale of Promise is a really strong card. I love it. Um, However, it was originally not in the deck. I got this suggestion from somebody on Facebook. If I don't remember your name, but if you're seeing this and you see that I'm including the Finale of Promise, thank you for that wonderful suggestion. This card has done me wonders in this deck, and I greatly appreciate that suggestion from you. Lastly, we have a little bit of reach, a little bit of burn. So we have 4 Pillar of Flames and 4 Shocks. So the reason I like these cards is because they're essentially the same card. 1 mana, deal 2 damage to any target. Pillar of Flame has upside if it deals damage to a creature and it dies, exile it instead. But these are basically just a little bit of extra reach. There's probably better options than Pillar of Flame. However, Pillar of Flame is a sorcery, and that's actually an upside here, because that means we can flash it back with Finale of Promise. So, like, we can diversify what we can flash back with Finale of Promise better with Pillar of Flame in the deck. I know we already have a lot of sorceries, but, you know. And then lastly, we have 3 Samet Sprints. This is to help us get Dreadhorde Arcanist up to 3 power so we can flashback See the Truth, but it's also so we can give our non-Sprite Dragon threats haste to help us close out a game in the late game. Samet Sprint giving haste has been a huge help several times. Like, I have had games where I wouldn't have won if it wasn't for the haste off of Samet Sprint. So I'm very happy with this card. I've been impressed with this card very well. But for the most part, all of these serve the same job, just get +2 damage on the battlefield, and if we have multiple Prowess creatures on the battlefield, then a Shock becomes +4 damage, 2 from itself, and the 2 from, say, 2 Prowess creatures. It's a really powerful card in the deck. I love all of these cards. Just a little bit of extra reach. Lastly, the lands, a bunch of mountains, some steam vents, sulfur falls, Temple of Epiphanies. I don't like temples because they're tapped, but we don't have a choice. We don't have any other dual land in the format that isn't tapped until we get Shivan Reef in the format, so we just have to deal with Temple of Epiphany. I really wish this was Shivan Reef, but Shivan Reef isn't on Arena yet. And then lastly, 2 Castle Lembrith. This is also mostly for Dreadhorde Arcanist, so we can flashback See the Truth, but it's also kind of like a pseudo Prowess trigger. We can pay 4 mana, 3 and tap it, so 4 mana, to give our creatures +1/0 until end of turn. This is a pseudo Prowess trigger, allowing us to pump our team temporarily until end of turn, kind of like how Prowess does when we cast a spell. So Castle of Lembrith, not an actual Prowess trigger, but it is a backup way to trigger Prowess, quote unquotes, around that. Like, you can't see my quotes, but they're there. So yeah, Castle Lembrith, really strong card. I like it. Sideboard wise, there's not a whole lot to talk about. Just a little bit of a counter magic with Spell Pierce for control. Red Cap melee, Aether Gust for mono red, and Aether Gust for green, Gruul, decks like that. Abrade is a little bit of artifact hate, but it can also come in against mono red and stuff like that for a little bit of additional removal. Saheeli and the Royal Scions for control. The thing that I like about Saheeli is that a lot of the times control tries to win by getting rid of our threats like Dreadhorde Arcanist, Sprite Dragon, Stormwing, keeping those off the battlefield. If we can get a Saheeli down, then we can go wide as well as tall with our Sprite Dragons and stuff like that. So our opponent needs to be able to answer multiple different things. Not only do they have to kill our thing going tall, they also have to kill our things going wide with servo tokens off of Saheeli. So Saheeli, really solid card. I like her. And then the Royal Scions, just as a little bit of extra way to loot through our deck, find a threat against control, because control will kill our threats very often. It's not impossible that they just kill every threat we play. So we want to have the Royal Scions to uptick, loot, draw through our deck, find another threat. Also, the -8 can just refill our hand, draw 4 cards, and it can kill our opponent if we have enough cards in hand. I don't think it's likely that we'll have enough cards in hand against control, but if we do, like, the Royal Scions can close out the game with that -8. And that's the deck. I hope you guys enjoy it, and I will see you guys in the videos. Alright, match 1 with Izzet Prowess. My apologies, my sound is too loud. I will turn that down. Match 1 with Izzet Prowess, and this is a mulligan. We have no lands. This hand I'll keep. I will keep this one. Let's get rid of Samet Sprint. I want to keep the See the Truth so we can go digging for another threat if our opponent is able to kill both of our Sprite Dragons. Which, honestly, doesn't sound impossible, seeing that our opponent's on blue-white. They could have a lot of board wipes. I'm going to turn this down a tad bit more. It's a little loud in my headset. Yeah, our opponent looks like they're just on blue-white control, so it looks like they're going to try and deal with our stuff. Search for Escanta. Okay. Oh god, another Sprite Dragon. Sprite Dragon number 2. Tap land, attack for 2. So next turn we can Sprite Dragon number 3 and then see the truth. Or maybe I can hold on to it because this is the turn after this would be the turn that they'll have Wrath of God. So we do want to keep in mind that they could have a sweeper incoming. Ooh, and we don't have counters in the main deck to protect against that. Okay, there's a seal away. That's annoying, but that's fine. Land and... I'm just going to see the truth. Go digging for another card. Take... Ooh, Opt's not bad. I will take the Opt. Yeah, I'm just going to attack. Pass the turn. Let that resolve. Search for Escanta. So what I'm going to do here is, because this is the one creature in our deck that doesn't work like the rest of them, it keeps its counters. It's not like the others where it's just until end of turn. This one keeps its counters. I'm going to meter out my my damage a little bit by casting spells during the end step and stuff to put counters on it then. Bottom to land, draw, crash through's not bad. Let's shock our opponent. Grow the Sprite Dragon. We draw a Stormwing, that's not bad. Let's crash through. Grow the Sprite Dragon. Draw card. Warlord's Fury is pretty good. Okay, so let's go to combat. Attack for 5. They didn't have anything interesting. Okay, so I'm going to Stormwing Entity. And, okay, so they had the counter. That's fine. So, I was playing the Stormwing to get another body on the board and threaten a, lethal to force my opponent to play the sweeper if they had it. Oh, that's not good for us. Alright, so that's definitely not good for us. Yep. Yeah, that's rough. Okay, Sprite Dragon. Yep, I have to kill Narset. I have to get it off the battlefield. Pillar of Flame is fine to keep. Kill Narset. And pass the turn.
Still have much to learn.
Yeah, I can't let Narset stay. If Narset sticks around, then we can't draw cards and we can't have our huge combo turns. And now I have to kill Narset again. Ugh. And that's a Birth of Meletis. I don't really care about Birth of Meletis. It goes to get a land, but we don't care about the blocker. Okay. Pillar of Flame my opponent. And kill in our set. Let's Warlord's Fury, draw a card. We draw not. Pass the turn. Search for Escanta, resolves. Yeah, these Narsets are difficult to fight through. Because so far, Narsets have eaten 8 damage. Because if we let them live, we can't draw cards and we can't have our big combo turns. Let's opt. And Arcanist isn't good enough here. We need to try and kill our opponent right now. Well, opt helps. Let's opt. Okay, so they're going to Escanta for something. They take a Sphinx's Rev. They can currently only do that for 1. Soulscar Mage isn't good enough. And we draw a Soulscar Mage anyway. I put you to the bottom. God, I hate the shuffler sometimes. Okay, so attack for 6. Yep. Cycling Sensor. Desperation Cycle. Okay, so let's Soulscar Mage. Force the opponent to Wrath if they have it, because Sprite Dragon is lethal here. They can Sphinx's Rev, and that's a cast out. That's annoying. And now we can't fight through the 0-4 either. We need... That's not quite what I had in mind. Let's Pillar Flame my opponent. And pass the turn. Opponent's going to go digging with Escanta. Okay, they found another removal spell. I'm going to keep playing because we do have Finale of Promise in our deck, and if we find it, then we can get back Pillar of Flame and Shock. Retro Darkness? Yeah, we are in dire straits, however. Our opponent stabilized. And this Sphinx's Rev is about to gain them a lot of life. They can do it for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They can do it for 7. Which puts them back up to 10, draws them a whole new hand. Gross. Yeah, I feel like we're out of this. Yep. Yeah, we had to spend too much time killing Narsets. Honestly, that may have been correct, too. Like, it may have just been wrong to kill the Narsets. Another Escanta. So now they get to filter their draws every turn. They get to draw cards with Escanta. I think this one's over. Yeah, we're gonna scoop it up, go to sideboards. Now, opponent's playing a lot of enchantment-based Spell Pierces, Sahili, and Royal Scions. Opponent's playing a lot of spell-based stuff. We will go down Pillar of Flames. Whoops. Pillar of Flame is better against creature decks where we actively want the removal. Go down a Warlord's Fury and I think an Arcanist. I imagine since they saw the Arcanist, they may bring in a little bit of Graveyard Hate. So we do want to be able to play around that a tad bit. So, on to game number 2. I honestly don't know if... that's a mulligan. I honestly don't know if this is going to be good enough. I will keep this. I will actually get rid of the Shock, I think. And Soulscar Mage. So, hopefully we can get off to a fast enough start that we can threaten our opponent's life total early. Let's opt. I am digging for a land here. Ooh, Sprite Dragon's a good one. I will keep the Sprite Dragon. Shock my opponent. And hit them for 3 down to 15. I kept the Sprite Dragon because this puts another threat on the battlefield, which is kind of what we want. And how the third Stormwing entity is not what we wanted. However, if we can start chaining spells together next turn, we should be in a good spot. However, I don't think we're winning this one now. We have 3 Stormwing entities in hand and no way to cast them. And if we do find a way to cast them, our opponent probably has counters and or a Wrath coming. So, yeah, we weren't fast enough here. We needed more spells, and yeah. I mean, I guess there's an argument that I shouldn't have fired off that Shock just yet. Okay, just a cast out. That's fine. It could have been something more threatening. That is an opt. That works. That helps. Go Scrying. See the truth to the bottom. Draw Crash Through's a good one. Okay. So let's attack for 2. Down to 9. Let's Stormwing. Land to the bottom. I'll keep the Sprite Dragon. Pass the turn. Let's force the Wrath if our opponent has it. And then next turn I will most likely crash through Stormwing to force more removal. Fabled Passage from the opponent. They've milled over quite a few lands from this Escanta, interestingly. Okay, Teferi. Now, do they tick up or down? They tick up. Okay. So, they could have Dovin's Veto. Sprite Dragon. They have something. Could also be Seal Away. That is a possibility. Let's crash through. This is 8 damage. It is not lethal yet. Okay, that is an opt. Well, I'm going to... Okay, so last game, in game 1, we went for the Planeswalkers and we ended up losing because we were just a couple points of damage short. I'm actually going to ignore the Planeswalkers this time and just go face. If they have a Seal Away, they can seal away our Stormwing. Okay, it's just a farmland. Interesting. So they're going to go to 1 here. They need a Wrath. They need a Wrath of God. Okay, drawing a card with Teferi. Sweet, they didn't have it. Cool, we got there. Yeah, I definitely think actually just going face was better there. Let's go down to See the Truth, actually, and go back up the Pillar of Flames. I do think that it's important that we have a little bit of extra reach. So, we're going to try this again. So, ooh, I'm going to keep this. I thought these were all Sulfur Falls for a minute, and then I realized this was the Steam Vents. This is a really good hand. And the Spell Pierce, that's nice. That's a nice one to have. So next turn, I actually think that I'm just going to... Yeah, let's just attack. Pass the turn. Hold up our spells. Gideon, that's a Spell Pierce target. Because that can keep our opponent alive. Land to the bottom. I don't need another land. Draw Temple. Draw a land. Warlord's Fury. Oh my god, more lands. Stormwing Entity. Land to the bottom. I don't think Saheeli is good enough. Saheeli is a sideboard card, but we need it before we cast all of our spells, and we've drawn a lot of lands. Ooh, opponent missed their land drop too. Temple, Scry. Another Stormwing to the bottom. That's not what we want. Attack our opponent. Shock our opponent's face. Yeah, keeping Gideon off the battlefield was pretty big. Okay, so they're going to go ahead and use the Absorb there. That's fine, because we will Stormwing. Our opponent will need a Wrath. Sweet! Sweet! Our opponent just scooped it up. They didn't even wait to see if they draw it. So, alright. Match 2 with Izzet Prowess in Historic. We are on the draw here. Make our little kitty blue. I'm going to keep this. This is greedy, keeping a 4-land hand. We don't really do a whole lot of anything, but most decks in the format, Pillar Flame is actually pretty good because they play a lot of X2 creatures. Overgrown Tomb. We're going to leave with the Temple. Temple to the bottom. I do like drawing Finale of Promise, however. That does mean that we can flashback to See the Truth eventually. Next turn, okay, we will Steam Vents, See the Truth. Take Spur Right Dragon. And pass the turn. We do want to have another threat, so next turn I will most likely opt into Stormwing. So opponent appears to be Sultai Control if I was to guess. Opt, go digging. Warlord's Fury is a good one to have. Stormwing Entity. Okay, Stormwing resolves. Opponent could have a removal spell like Heartless Act. Shock to the bottom, I will keep the second Sprite Dragon. Pass the turn. So I guess the question is, do we play another Stormwing this coming turn, or do we just get down the Sprite Dragons? At least one of them. I think we go for the Stormwing. Yeah, I think we go for the Stormwing. Because... Thoughtseize. Alright. Opponent gets to decide what we do. If they take the Stormwing, then we'll most likely Sprite Dragon. If they don't, then I'll probably play the second Stormwing and go from there. If they are like traditional Sultai Control, I think Finale of Promise may be the take. just because they can't let it resolve, and Sultai Control doesn't normally play a ton of counter spells in the main deck. And Finale of Promise just represents so much damage. Okay, they take the Sprite Dragon. Little do they know we have another one on top of the deck. So let's Pillar of Flame the opponent. That will grow our Stormwing, go to Wombat, and attack for 4. They can kill it if they'd like, but they know we have another one in hand. Okay, so they're going to Shark Typhoon for 1, just to put a blocker on the board. Preserve their life total a tad bit. Okay, Stormwing resolves. And, I'm going to bottom the Soulscar Mage, I think, and keep the See the Truth. Tap a land, pass the turn. Does our opponent have a sweeper? Usually if they do, it's Extinction Event, which is kind of brutal, actually, because it gets both of our Stormwings. I mean, they can just name Odd and it gets both of our Stormwings. That is definitely an annoyance, but, you know, we still have the Sprite Dragon at hand that we can attack in with, so we'll see. Ugh, I don't like this. I don't like that our opponent has different lands. They have one beautiful Garruk land, and then they have one ugly Jumpstart Swamp. Boring, boring basics, opponent. I do like your taste in creatures over here, though. Okay, so they're going to run out a Crassus. Let's Sprite Dragon. Warlord's Fury. Go digging. Okay, we drew another Warlord's Fury, so I will cast the other Warlord's Fury. We drew a Salmon Sprint, not bad. Attack. Our opponent can block. Yep, so they'll take 8, go to 9. And we will pass the turn. The thing is, though, if they have Extinction Event here, it only hits... Okay, they didn't have it. So, I've noticed that these decks... I don't know why I'm talking about Extinction Event. Usually these decks play, usually these decks play Languish. I don't know if I want Royal Scions, because these decks do play Eliminate, but I will bring in the Saheelis, because then that's forcing them to use their Eliminates on something less threatening. Saheeli, not as powerful in the face of Infinite Sweepers, because this deck does play a lot of board wipes. If this is traditional Sultai with like Growth Spirals and Explorers and Uros, then Spell Pierce gets worse, so I think I'll just do 2. Go down the See the Truths, go down an Arcanist. I'm also doing only 2 Aether Gusts because it's not good against most of the deck. It's only good against like Nissas and Uros and Hydroid Crassi and stuff like that. Let's go down a Shock, an Opt, and a... Let's go down a Pillar of Flame. Or like that. I am keeping the Finale of Promises, however, because... Singular Finale, sorry. Because it's a really solid card if it resolves. This hand is really close to being good. I'm going to keep it. We have our sideboard Saheeli, and we have several threats. Okay, Thoughtseize. Sure. What do you want, opponent? We have 4 threats and 2 draw spells. Probably take Soulscar Mage, but then if they take the Soulscar, I'll just spend the first turn opting to dig for a land. I mean, I don't know what I'd take here personally. If I was my opponent. They take the Opt. That's an... Ooh, and we drew the land too. Interesting decision on our opponent's part to take the Opt. I mean... Yeah, that is a play to try and keep us off of hitting our second land. But little do they know, we drew it. Wow, look at that. Runner, runner. Spur Right Dragon. I don't like that this is tapped, however. Because that means we can't get Saheeli down on time if we don't draw another untapped land here. And we did not. That does mean, though, that we can get down another Sprite Dragon. Temple, Scry, Aether Gust to the bottom. Aether Gust isn't really going to be stopping anything at this point. we are trying to set up to win the game over the next couple of turns. Uro. Okay, so Uro doesn't actually stop us. I really do wish we had our ops still. But yeah. So opponent gets to gain a little bit of life, stay above their life total. Ugh, that's annoying. They can take our Crash through, which keeps us from comboing off a little bit. Or they can take the Saheeli, because Saheeli will eventually just kind of run over with the game. Saheeli also has benefited upside that we can like turn our tokens made with it into Prowess creatures. So Saheeli is actually a really solid card against control decks, in my opinion. Takes the Pillar of Flame. Interesting decision. Well, let's get down Saheeli. And attack for 4. Next turn. Next turn should actually be pretty good. Growth Spiral. If our opponent can't kill our board, I think we have lethal next turn. So we can shock our opponent, put them to 8. Tech down on Saheeli, make the... Okay, they shocked. Growth Spiral. Okay, so they're dead. Shock the face. And that's 6 right there. We don't even need to do anything else. But I'm going to.
Do I have your attention now?
Alright, I'm just doing this for the camera. I enjoy having fun. And our opponent's sitting through it, so... Look at that. See, that was fun. This is part of why I love this deck. Okay, so I'm just going to show this because I want to show why Saheeli is good. So Saheeli can make servos, and then we can, you saw there, we can turn our servos into our prowess creatures like Sprite Dragon, and then they grow as we're casting our spells, and yeah, it's really strong, really powerful. This is why Saheeli is so strong in these control matches, because if Saheeli resolves and isn't answered, it can do stuff. Granted, we didn't need Saheeli here, because we didn't need these tokens. We already had game, but if that game was to drag out like we thought it was going to, because normally these Sultai control matches do drag out for a while if they can stay alive with Uro, we do need this. We need this extra prowess creature to be able to get in for the last few points of damage. So, yeah. Fun. Beating Sultai control. Always fun. Match 3 with Izzet Prowess in Historic. Alright, we are on the play for the first time this league. Or, through these matches. We don't have a threat. I can't keep the hand. This hand has several threats. I will keep this one. I think I'll get rid of Dreadhorde Arcanist. It's the one threat in the hand that's the slowest. I will keep this one. Get rid of Arcanist. Make our little kitty over here blue. So I'm hoping to buy the pre-order for Zendikar over the next couple of days so I can get the pet rock. Are we against Sultai again? Interesting. Stormwing. Or Sprite Dragon, my bad. Not Stormwing. Stormwing comes in a later turn. Hopefully we draw a spell next turn, because if we do, we can get down Stormwing and hit our opponent for a few points of damage. Thoughtseize. Okay, you can take our Stormwing. We didn't want that anyway. Alright, play the Temple. Go Scrying. Keep the Crash through. Wow, it's... Oh my god. I'm an idiot. I played the wrong Temple. Ugh. See, okay, so competitive edge talk time. This is why you need to have all of your cards the same set, because then you make this mistake where you play the M20 version instead of the M21 version, and now our opponent knows that we drew a land last turn instead of, you know, something actually decent. Ugh. So annoying. Anyway, crash through, and we drew another land. Yay. Play the tap land. Pillar of Flame's not good enough. I think I need to draw cards. Especially if our opponent has a removal spell here. Alright, opponent goes 2/10. No removal spell yet. Growth Spiral. Put the land into play. This is Nissa turn, so that's going to be annoying. There's the land. They're not fetching immediately. Okay, extinction event. So they get rid of Sprite Dragon. We need to... Okay, that's an opt. That's a start. Opt. Opponent. Lets it resolve. Land to the bottom. Sorry, John Avon Mountain. Yeah, we're just going to do this. I'm going to hold on to the shock for a later turn. Attack our opponent down to 7. They're going to fetch with Fabled Passage. Gets a Forest. Okay. This is still where they could have a Nissa. That's an Uro. Uro's annoying, but not the end of the world. Unless they just play another land to be able to get it back. They don't have enough cards to get it back, though, so unless that last land is a Fabled Passage. Okay, you can Thoughtseize our shock. Sure. That's a lot of Thoughtseizes. Oh, wait, no, that's only 2. Oh, God. Tap land. Castle. I mean, keep doing this. They can get back Uro next turn, though, and then we're in trouble. Oh, boy. Growth Spiral. Draws a card. Land. Now, we can't beat this Uro, though. This Uro's about to come down, and then we can't win. There's the Eliminate. I assume they're going to get back Uro here. If they don't, they're playing Magic wrong. And then we can't win. They have green. Yeah, there's the Uro. I'll wait to see what we draw, but we can't beat a 6/6 very easily, especially not without Soulscar Mage. And, okay, yeah, we just drew a Pillar Flame, so let's scoop it up. And go to the next one. We can't beat Uro. They're going to gain too much life for us to be able to get back into it. So, let's bring in the Aether Gust, because those stop Uro and Nissa. Bring in the Saheelis. Go down Dreadhorde Arcanist. One of them, the 2 See the Truths, an Opt, and a Pillar Flame. I like that. Pillar Flame would be better if it was an instant, so we could get rid of Uro immediately. Like, whenever they play it, we can Pillar Flame it, and then it exiles itself when it sacks itself. But, sadly, that's not how Pillar Flame works. It works with Magma Spray, but we don't have any Magma Sprays. Because we like to be able to go face as often as possible. Play first. I will keep this. We can't get a threat down until turn 2, which is annoying. Yeah, let's crash through, draw a card. Okay, we draw a shock. And so our opponent... Okay, so land, Dreadhorde. Pass the turn. Does our opponent have discard? I don't think they do. They either have removal... Okay, yeah, they have removal. So, untapped land. That's not an untapped land. Shock to the bottom. I would have liked to get down Saheeli there, but we can't yet. We have to wait until next turn. This is why I want Shivan Reef legal in Historic so badly. Until we get Shivan Reef, these temples... there's the discard. Now we lose our Saheeli, and now I think this is over. We needed Saheeli that turn, and we couldn't get it down because we had to play the tap land. Yep. And if we don't draw a threat right now, this game's already over. Because we don't have any card draw. Well, that's a threat, so... Threat. Salmon Sprint. It already has haste, so I'm mostly doing this for the scry. Keep the threat. Get in. Alright, opponent's at 14. I still feel like we're just dead, though. Forest and Extinction Event to get rid of our Sprite Dragon. You know your opponent has a lot of removal when they are using sweepers as 1-for-1s. Or like they have access to a lot of removal that they feel confident enough to use. Yeah, I'll let that go. It's, come on. My keyboard and mouse aren't working, and it's really annoying. Because I can't use spacebar to shortcut for the yield, and I can't click it because it won't click. So, yep, there's that. pretty sure we're already dead, though. Well, not dead, but we can't get back into this. We have no card draw, and that's our biggest problem. Our hand is just burn. Well, that's something. Pillar of Flame our opponent. Stormwing. And resolves, go scrying. Land to the bottom, keep the Sprite Dragon. I mean, we could still get back into this, but we still have to contend with his Uro, which is just going to be so annoying. And it can come back. Yeah, it can already come back if they exile their whole graveyard here. Extinction event. Nice. Okay. Yep. We have Sprite Dragon on top, but I don't think it's going to be good enough. We needed both of those to not die. Shock our opponent. Grow the Sprite Dragon. Put them down to 9. And then they get to Uro up to 12. Ugh. I don't see us winning this. Hydroid Crassus for 6. Okay. That's also a problem. Opt. Warlord's Fury isn't bad. Warlord's Fury. Draw a card. Attack. Ugh. Get that out of here. Uro's going to be coming back soon, though. If not now, shortly. Ugin. That's worse. Yep. They just get to tick down, get rid of our Sprite Dragon. Yeah, we're gonna scoop it up now. Womp womp. Eugene crushing our dreams. Alright. Match 4 with Izzet Prowess in Historic. We are on the play once more. Opponent's playing Kahira, so that usually means blue-white. I'm going to mulligan this. If this is blue-white, oh, this is worse for blue-white. I'm going to keep it. I'm assuming our opponent is on blue-white control, because you don't normally see Kahira when they're not on blue-white. Tap land, pass. They could be on an actual cat deck. Yep, they're on blue-white control. Untap land, Dread Horde Arcanist. I just don't see any of this actually mattering, though. We don't have a solid enough threat. That's a Sprite Dragon. That's better. Sprite Dragon. Opt. Go digging. Opponent lets it go. We will keep the Soulscar Mage. We are going to need something in case our opponent can kill our stuff. Go attacking. Flashback the Opt. Grow Sprite Dragon. Pillar of Flame bottom. And we draw... Come on, Arena Shuffler. We put you to the bottom. We put you to the bottom. Ugh. Opponent cycles a Censor. And they cycled the Cast Out as well. Interesting. You'd think that they'd want to keep the Cast Out. Baffling End. Which do they take, though? Which is more threatening? The Dreadhorde Arcanist? That makes sense. So, ooh. Samet Sprint. Go Scrying. Ooh. I don't want another Arcanist here. If we're going to go for the Arcanist, it needs to be better than that. It needs to be at a different time. Attack our opponent to 10, down to 4. And if our opponent Wraths here, we should be in decent shape. Even if they do Wrath, yeah. They do not Wrath. Well, let's go to combat. And just attack. And if they have a Seal Away, we can shock their face to put lethal on the board with Soulscar. Okay, so let that resolve. And shock the shark. Get in for 8. Sweet. Easy. Easy mode against blue-white control. Spell Pierces, Saheli and the Royal Scions. See the Truth, Dreadhorde Arcanist, Opt, and a couple Pillar Flames. Run it like that. Alright. Game 2. Okay. Game 2. I like this. I don't like that both of our lands are tapped. We have multiple threats. Sideboard Spell Pierce, Crash Through, Shock. We should be okay with this. I will keep it. Hello, our opponent, because they are nice. We will Temple of Epiphany, keep the mountain. I'm keeping the mountain because that means that our Silverfall is now untapped, and we can Soulscar Mage, hold up Spell Pierce. Rest in peace. Interesting. Yeah, that's fine. That's part of why I take out a couple Dreadhorde Arcanists. That's why I try to take out a Dreadhorde Arcanist or two post sideboard. Now that we know about Rest in Peace, though, if we go into a game 3, I will take the rest of them out. Land Sprite Dargon. And go to combat, attack for 2. If our opponent wants to Wrath of God next turn, that's fine, because we have Spell Pierce. And then we will untap and Spell Pierce. And untap and attempt to win the game. Crash through. Draw some cards. Crash through. Draw some cards. Crash through. Steam Vent, untapped, shock our opponent. Down to 5. And even if they have a Wrath here, we have another Sprite Dragon in hand to untap, opt, Samet Spirit. That's 4 mana, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, okay, cool. So, go to combat and attack. They're going to cast out. Okay, that's fine. They can cast out on Sprite Dragon. That's fine, because we will Samet Sprint. Sweet. And we had another one. We had an Opt and Samet Sprint, both of them, to grow that into lethal territory. So, yeah, that went better than our first game against Blue-White Control. This is a weird set of matches. Blue-White Control into Sultai Control twice, and then Blue-White Control again. Izzet Prowess just taking the full Monty of control decks tonight. But yeah, we are destroying control decks tonight. So, alright, 5th and final match with Izzet Prowess in Historic. Alright, we are on the play here. This is a mulligan. I will keep this one. I'll go to the Castle Embereth. This hand is a little bit sketch. I don't like not having a threat. Actually, I'm going to get rid of the Temple. I don't like not having a threat, but we have several cards in our hand to allow us go find one. Temple let us go scry for one. Then we have See the Truth, Opt, and Crash Through to go dig for one. So, Mountain, let's See the Truth. Take Sprite Dragon. There's our threat. Hopefully our opponent doesn't Thoughtseize it. Scry land from the opponent. Ooh, Sulphur Falls. Sulphur Falls. Play the Sprite Dragon, go attacking, and pass the turn. I'm going to wait to start casting spells into Sprite Dragon, wait for my opponent to do something first. This is our only threat, so we want to try and at least attempt to protect it a tad bit. Let's opt. If they have it, they have it. We can't do anything about it. Alright, yeah, they had it, so whatever. We didn't have any way to protect it anyway. So now we're just digging for another threat here, and that's another threat. Sweet. Let's lead on Soulscar Mage into Sprite Dragon, go attacking, pass the turn. If they play something that we can shock, we will shock it. Otherwise, we'll just hold up our cards and wait until next turn. Try and get as much value out of our Soulscar Mage's Prowess triggers as we can. land from the opponent, and passes, it seems. Okay. Let's crash through. Opponent. Another land. Not exactly what we wanted. Let's just go to combat and attack. That's annoying. Whatever. Sure. They had yet another removal spell. You'll pass the turn. Opponent's playing a bit of removal. It's kind of annoying. We would have liked to have both of those Sprite Dragons. But it's fine. Woodland Cemetery. We will untap. More lands, not what I wanted. Attack. Castle. We don't have anything else going on, we just have these shocks in our hand. Pass the turn. So, Castle Embereth is probably our best bet at the moment. Because we can cast both of our shocks anyway, so... That is a Garrick. That is...
You ever listen to the crickets?
Whew, that is a problem. Sure.
You're not scared of dogs.
Untap. Okay, Sprite Dragon. Shock. Shock Garrick. Put Garrick down to 3. Okay, and then shock my... Let's go to combat, attack with both at Garrick, and see what my opponent does. Okay, so let's... Yeah, let's just shock my opponent. We lose our Soulscar Mage, but we get Garrick off the battlefield. And we still have Sprite Dragon around. I don't know if any of this is out on us. Nah, Massacre Worm. Okay, so now it feels a little bit less bad that we lost our Soulscar Mage. Go attacking. Get our opponent to 8, play Dreadhorde Arcanist, pass the turn. So we're not actually that out of this game if our Sprite Dragon lives, which it doesn't look like it's going to. But, you know, that's not killing our stuff. I mean, maybe, who knows? We'll find out. We'll see. Opponent chooses not to attack, so that makes me think they don't have anything. So I'm going to castle and go to combat. I did the castle, so Dreadhorde Arcanist can flashback See the Truth. And then we will See the Truth to draw 3 cards. And it drew us 2 lands. Thanks. Let's go to block, see what our opponent does. Of course they're going to block Dreadhorde Arcanist, because why wouldn't they? So let's opt to turn Sprite Dragon into 6 damage. Stormwing Entity, I don't think that's good enough. I need something better than that. Ooh. Let's opt. Okay. Opponent goes to 1. Our creature will die. Play the land, play Soulscar Mage, pass the turn. Alright, so we are very close to winning this, but we're also kind of close to being in hot water because our deck decided to give us so many lands. That Bajuka Bog was annoying. That's also annoying, another Massacre Worm. It's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Oh! Okay, we stole game 1 against our opponent here. Okay, so they just look like they're like green-black rock or something. So, let's see. I don't know if I want Aether Gust. They're not playing a ton of green cards, it seemed. Maybe we just bring in Sahelius and the Royal Scions. Go down, See the Truths, and a Dreadhorde Arcanist. And run it like that. Alright, so, I mean, we stole game 1 against them, so that's pretty good. We'll see if we can, get game 2, or if we go to a game 3, see if we can get game 3 off of them. Opponent still sideboarding. Alright. Game 2. Against Green Black Rock in our 5th match with Izzet Prowess. We'll see. We'll see what happens here. Make our little kitty over here blue. Okay, this hand... This hand, we only have Soulscar Mage as a threat. Our opponent plays a ton of removal. We don't have too many redraws. I'm gonna keep this. I think this hand is okay because we get to get down Soulscar Mage. It is likely to die. I'm not denying that at all because our opponent appears to be playing a ton of removal. However, okay, it doesn't look like they have removal, so I'm gonna go ahead and opt here. Shock to the bottom. I do want to find another threat. That's not a threat. Let's Temple. Go Scrying. That's another threat. I will keep the Soulscar Mage. Pass the turn. Forest from the opponent. And passes. So they definitely have something. What that something is, we do not know. Let's Warlord's Fury. Draw a card. Opponent clearly has removal, so I'm just... Ugh, that's a lot of lands. Okay, let's go to combat. And attack. Alright, Murderous Rider. Okay, that's fine. I will allow that. Let's play the Temple. Go Scrying. Land to the bottom. Definitely land to the bottom. And then Soulscar Mage. Pass the turn. So opponent can play the Murderous Rider if they want to, but we can just immediately kill it. And then I'm not too worried about it. And then we'll see what else they might do here. Okay, Murderous Rider. That is more lands. My god. Well, let's shock the Murderous Rider. Pillar Flame the Murderous Rider. Get it out of here. Attack for 3. Put the opponent to 13. Ugh. We have drawn a lot of lands. Another Castle Lockwain. Thragtusk. That's a card. Play the land. Pass. I can't punch through the Swagtusk. Ugh. Yeah, we only drew 2 Soulscar Mages this whole game. And we drew 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lands, plus put 1 to the bottom. So, definitely a lot of lands. There's a Soulscar Mage in my graveyard. Okay, but they tapped all of their green mana, so I can get that out of the way. Shock the Skews. Sure. Play the Soulscar Mage, pass the turn. Forest from the opponent. And, yep, let's scoop it up. Sweet. Okay. We'll go to the next game, because we drew a lot of lands. Okay, and then let's bring in the Aether Gusts over 2 Pillar of Flames, and I think, and a Stormwing, I think. Alright, let's try this for match 3. Hopefully we don't draw 8,000 lands again. Alright, play first. I'm going to keep this. This is a very risky keep, considering we can't cast our only threat. But, okay, there's a Soulscar Mage. That's something. Forest from the opponent. And Llanowar Elves. That's okay. So, play that. Let's Pillar of Flame. I'm doing the Pillar first because I do want to exile the Llanowar Elves. And I've learned that Pillar of Flame is a non-bow with Soulscar Mage if we're trying to exile it, because Soulscar Mage prevents the damage, and this only exiles it if it was dealt damage. So, yeah. Also, happy we drew the Steam Vents there. So now we can cast the Stormwing Entity. Let's crash through, draw a card. Okay. I'm going to play the Stormwing post-combat, wait until play the land as well, make our opponent think we're missing land drops. Sure. Untapped Stormwing Entity, and pass the turn. Right, this scries when it enters. Steam Vents bottom, up to the top. Does the opponent have an answer for Stormwing? They do not currently, which is always nice. Okay, so let's opt. Temple to the bottom. Okay, Steam Vents. Let's play it untapped so we can Aether Gust if needed. Shock down the Llanowar Visionary and attack for 5. And pass the turn. Just hold up Aether Gust in case we need to cast it. Land from the opponent. Okay, that is a good Aether Gust target. Keep our Stormwing around for another turn. Alright, so they kept it on top. Alright, play the Sprite Dragon, attack for 4, and pass the turn. I don't like that the opponent still has this Maelstrom Pulse. Okay, Elder Gargoth is annoying. Yeah. Yep. Get in with just the Stormwing. Let's see what they choose. They're going to gain life. So we will shock the Gargoth. Pass the turn. They can Maelstrom Pulse Sprite Dragon. And then we're in trouble because we don't have any cards in hand. Or they can Massacre Worm it. Just hold on to the Maelstrom Pulse. Crash through, draw a card. More lands, thanks. Pass the turn. And if we ever do find a threat now, we have to deal with this Maelstrom Pulse. I don't think we're winning this. Scavenging Ooze is a problem as well. That can eat away our graveyard, gain them a lot of life. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, lots of lands. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 lands. Warlord's Fury, draw a card. More lands, thanks. Let's do that. Pass the turn. Yep. Cool. Sweet. Thanks. Yeah, we're dead. We are dead on board, so GG's, opponent. GG. So, what did we learn today playing Izzet Prowess in Historic? And I feel like we could have done so much better than we did on video, because I've played this deck a lot, and it does a lot better whenever I'm playing off video, so I'm surprised that it performed kind of not good. And that could have just been me as a player. I know that I was getting frustrated a lot during some of those games, especially playing against Sultai twice. I hate Sultai, if you couldn't tell throughout the games. I hate Sultai. I had 3 more games that I recorded for this that were all Sultai that I just didn't include. I re-recorded them each time until I eventually got to that Green-Black Rock match there at the end. I played against Sultai 5 or 6 times trying to record this video, and I cannot stand Sultai. I am so tired of Uro. But that's not the point. We did beat Sultai once out of the 2 times that we played it on camera. I only beat it the once out of the 5 times that I played with it altogether. That's not why I didn't include those other 3 times against Sultai, though. I didn't want the entire video to be Sultai, so that's why I kept changing it. But we played against Sultai twice. We played against Blue White Control twice. We played against that Green Black Rock deck. I'm happy with the matches we played against. I'm disappointed we lost to Green Black Rock because after taking that first one, I felt pretty confident being able to take one of the next 2 games, but it just wasn't there. That may have been poor sideboarding on my part. I don't know. But we were able to take it down game 1, which was impressive. But yeah, I'm super happy with the deck. I wish it did better. Honestly, I think the main thing that this deck is just missing is like Monastery Swiftspear or something. If we get Monastery Swiftspear in the historic format, then we can change that out for Dreadhorde Arcanist, take out the See the Truth because we won't need them at that point, because See the Truth is just for Dreadhorde Arcanist, and then just like do all that fun stuff and go to town. Like, we can take out the Dreadhorde Arcanist, take out the See the Truth, play 4 Swiftspears, 4 Warlord's Furies, and that's the deck. That's all the changes that need to be made, and the deck would be incredible. I have no doubt that this deck would be a powerhouse if we had Swiftspear in place of Dreadhorde Arcanist or something, but we don't have it yet. Hopefully we get it soon, but that's the deck. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will talk to you guys soon. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and subscribe. While you're at it, hit that bell icon so you get notified whenever a new video goes up. If you want, feel free to check out some of our other content shown on your screen.